Good evening. Today we're going to read Mark chapter 8, and it starts, Jesus feeds the 4,000. In those days, when again a great crowd had gathered, and they had nothing to eat, he called his disciples to him and said to them, I have compassion on the crowd, because they have been with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away hungry to their homes, they will faint on the way, and some of them have come from far away. And his disciples answered him, How can one feed these people with bread here in this desolate place? And he asked them, How many loaves do you have? And they said, 7. And he directed the crowd to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves. And again, I'll remind you, these were not big loaves of bread. These were smaller. Not that it matters. He did a miracle. But these were not huge loaves of bread. These were small loaves. These were like a person's loaf of bread. And he directed the crowd to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves, and having given thanks, he broke them and gave them to his disciples to set before the people. And they set them before the crowd, and they had a few small fish. And having blessed them, he said that these also should be set before them. And they ate and were satisfied. And they took up the broken pieces left over, 7 baskets full. Now, if you'll remember, before there were 12 baskets. That was, of course, a different event. But to me, the 12, there were 12 disciples, so there was a reason there were 12 baskets. And as you know, 7 is a number of God. It's a number of completion. So there's nothing. All of this stuff is pertinent. It's there's a reason for each little thing that happens. And there were about 4,000 people, and he sent them away. And immediately he got into the boat with his disciples, and went to the district of Dalmanutha. The Pharisees demand a sign. The Pharisees came and began to argue with him, seeking from him a sign from heaven to test him. And he sighed deeply in his spirit and said, Why does this generation seek a sign? Truly I say to you, no sign will be given to this generation. And he left them, got into the boat again, and went to the other side. The leaven of the Pharisees and Herod. Now they had forgotten to bring bread, and they had but 1 loaf with them in the boat. And he cautioned them, saying, Watch out, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod. Now leaven is like yeast or something to make bread rise. That's what leaven is, but this is representing something else. And they began discussing with one another the fact that they had no bread. And Jesus, aware of this, said to them, Why are you discussing the fact that you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive or understand? Are your hearts hardened? Having eyes, do you not see? And having ears, do you not hear? And do you not remember? When I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you take up? And they said to him, 12. And the 7 for the 4,000, how many baskets full of broken pieces did you take up? And they said to him, 7. And he said to them, Do you not yet understand? Jesus healed a blind man at Bethsaida. And they came to Bethsaida, and some people brought to him a blind man, and begged him to touch him. And he took the blind man by the hand, and led him out of the village. And when he had spit on his eyes, and laid his hands on him, he asked him, Do you see anything? And he looked and said, I see people, but they look like trees walking. Then Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, and he opened his eyes. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. And he sent him to his home, saying, Do not even enter the village. Peter confesses Jesus as the Christ. And Jesus went on with his disciples to the villages of Caesarea Philippi. And on the way he asked his disciples, Who do people say that I am? And they told him, John the Baptist. And others say, Elijah. And others, one of the prophets. And he asked them, But who do you say that I am? Peter answered him, You are the Christ. And he strictly charged them to tell no one about him. See, again, he's telling them not to tell it yet. It's not yet. Jesus foretells his death and resurrection. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things, and be rejected by the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. And he said this plainly, and Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and seeing his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, Get thee behind me, Satan. Get behind me, Satan, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man. Satan was causing Peter to say and do things he shouldn't have. And calling the crowd, and calling the crowd to him with his disciples, he said to them, If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? For what can a man give in return for his soul? For whoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him will the Son of Man also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. And that's chapter 8. And I believe I have a copy, and I believe it's called the Blended Gospels, and basically what it does is shows all 4 Gospels lined up, and you can read through all 4 at the same time, and it shows what's happening if something's happening in Matthew, how Mark described it, or how Luke told about it, or John, and it gives a different overview of what's happening during that time, and that's a good study to look at. There's so many different ways to study the Gospels. It's just amazing the different things that are available out there. And so I would encourage you, if you have again any questions, I'll be glad to suggest some ideas for ways that you can study if you need ideas, or look for your own. I would just ask you that you be careful which websites you make sure it's trustworthy websites. And if you pray and ask the Lord to show you, I feel like He is faithful, and He will show you what the good places are and what the not good places are. And again, if you're reading something on a website, and you don't have to have a whole lot of discernment, if you're truly seeking after God and you're reading something on a website and something says that doesn't sound right, trust that feeling and dig a little deeper and find out why you're feeling that way. It may be something that you need to learn differently, that you have learned one way all your life and you're finding out that that's not true, or it may be that the Lord is saying this is not the website you need to be on. Maybe they're teaching wrong. So trust God first, but trust when He speaks to you, and trust your own instincts. Listen when your mind is telling you that something doesn't make sense. That means you need to dig a little deeper and find out why it doesn't make sense. God will help you any way that you allow Him to help you. Now, He's not going to give it to you. I've got a friend, and he said when he was in school, one of his teachers said, if I could just screw the top of your head off and just pour this knowledge in, I would, but it's not going to work that way. And Bible study doesn't work that way with us. Just do the best you can. Trust that God is going to help you, and come alongside other people that are studying and don't mind helping you study, and you'll learn from them, and I promise you they will learn from you too. I have told y'all, I've got a friend who I tease her and tell her she's a heathen because because she's a non-believer, but she will ask me questions that make me dig for why I believe what I believe. It's not just because Daddy told me or Daddy's preacher told me. I need to know that I believe it because I believe it, not because somebody else believes it. So don't ever be afraid to ask questions. I've heard people say it's not right to question God. I do not believe that. It is totally all right to question God, but you have to be ready to hear the answers when He gives them to you. And that's true with anybody. Don't ask questions if you're not ready to hear the answers. And that's, like I said, that's true with anybody. But anyway, thank y'all for joining me tonight, and don't forget Family Fun Day Saturday and all the events next week. Stars and Stripes over the Lou, the parades, the fireworks. There's all kind of fun things to do next week, and I believe you'll have a good time at all of them. But anyway, I will see y'all tomorrow.